Thank you for coming to our production tonight. We will be performing the tragedy of Othello, Act 1, Scene 3. This is at the Duke's Palace. Enter Duke, senators, and officers sat at a table with lights and attendants. There is no composition in these news that gives them credit.
Indeed, they are disproportioned. My letters say 107 galleys.
And mine 140. And mine 200. But though they jump not on a just account, as in these cases where the A reports, 'tis odd with difference. Yet do they all confirm a Turkish fleet and bearing up to Cyprus. Nay, it isn't possible enough to judgment. I do not so secure me in the error, but the main article I do approve in fearful sense. What ho, what ho!
A messenger from the galleys!
Now, what's the business? The Turkish preparation makes for roads, so was I bid report here to the state by Signor Angelo. How say you by this change?
This cannot be, by no essay of reason. 'Tis a pageant, to keep us in false gaze, what we consider the importancy of Cyprus to the Turk, and let ourselves again but understand that as it more concerns the Turk than Rhodes, so may he with more facile question hear it. For that it stands not in such warlike brace, but altogether lacks the abilities that Rhodes is dressed in. If we make thought of this, we must not think the Turk is so unskilful to leave the latest which concerns him first, neglecting an attempt at ease and gain to wake and wage a danger profitless.
Nay, in all confidence he's not for Rhodes.
Here is more news. The Ottomites, reverend and gracious, steering with due course toward the Isle of Rhodes, have there enjointed them with an after fleet. Ay, so I thought. How many as you guess? 30 sail, and now do they stem their backward course, bearing with frank appearance their purposes toward Cyprus. Signor Montano, your trusty and most valiant servitor, with his free duty recommends you thus, and prays you to believe him.
'Tis certain then for Cyprus. Marcus Photius, is he not in town?
He is now in Florence.
Write from us, to him post haste dispatch.
Here comes Brabantio, and the valiant Moor.
Valiant Othello, we must straight employ you against the general enemy, Ottoman. I did not see you. Welcome, Genio Signor. We lacked your counsel and need your help tonight.
So did I yours. Good your grace, pardon me. Neither my place nor aught I heard of business hath raised me from my bed, nor doth the gentle care take hold on me for my particular grief is of so floodgate and overbearing nature that it engulfs and swallows other sorrows, and it is still itself.
Why? What's the matter?
My daughter, oh my daughter.
Dead?
Ay, to me, she is abused, stolen from me, and corrupted by spells and medicines bought of mountain banks. For nature so preposterously to err, being not deficient, blind, or lame of sense, sans witchcraft could not.
Whoe'er he be, that in his full proceeding hath thus beguiled your daughter of herself, and you of her, the bloody book of law, you shall yourself read in the bitter letter, after your own sense, yea, though our proper son stood in your action.
Humbly I thank your grace. Here is the man, this Moor, whom now, it seems, your special mandate for the state affairs hath hither brought.
We are very sorry for it. What in your own part can you say to this?
Nothing but this, signors.
Most potent, grave, and reverend signors, my very noble and approved good masters, that I have ta'en away this old man's daughter. It is most true, I have married her. The very head in front of my offending hath this extent no more. Rude am I in speech, and little blessed with the soft phrase of peace. For since these arms of mine had 7 years' pith, till now some 9 moons wasted, they have used their dearest action in a tented field, and little of this great world can I speak, more than pertains to fleets of broils and battle, and therefore little shall I grace my cause in speaking for myself. Yet by your gracious patience I will a round unvarnished tale deliver of my whole course of love, what drugs, what charms, what conjuration, and what mighty magic. For such proceeding I am charged withal. I won his daughter.
A maiden never bold, of spirit so still and quiet in her motion, blushed at herself. And she, in spite of nature, of years, of country, credit, everything, to fall in love with what she feared to look on. It is a judgment maimed and most imperfect, that will confess perfection so could err, against all rules of nature, and must be driven to find out practices of cunning hell. Why this should be, I therefore vouch again, that with some mixtures powerful over the blood, or with some dram conjured to this effect, he wrought upon her.
To vouch this is no proof, without more wider and more overt test than these then habits and poor likelihoods of modern seeming do prefer against him.
But Othello, speak. Did you, by indirect and forced courses, subdue and poison this young maid's affections, or came it by request in such fair question as soul to soul?
I do beseech you, send for the lady to Sagittary, and let her speak of me before her father. If you do find me foul in her report, the trust, the office I do hold of you, not only take away, but let your sentence even fall upon my life. Fetch Desdemona hither. Ancient, conduct them, you best know the place. And till she come as truly as to heaven, I do confess the vices of my blood. So justly to your great ears I'll present how I did thrive in this fair lady's love, and she in mine. Say it. Hello. Her father loved me, oft invited me, still questioned me the story of my life, from year to year the battles, sieges, fortune, that I have passed. I ran it through, even from my boyish days, to the very moment that he bade me tell it, wherein I spake of most disastrous chances, of moving accidents by flood and field, of hairbreadth escapes I then immediate, deadly breach, of being taken by the insolent foe, and sold to slavery, of my redemption thence, and portents in my traveller's history, wherein of Antioch's vast and deserts idle, rough quarries, rocks, and hills, whose heads touch heaven. It was my hand to speak, such was my process, and of the cannibals that eat each other, and men whose heads do grow beneath their shoulders. These things to hear would Desdemona sincerely incline, but still the house of fears would draw her thence, whichever as she could with haste dispatch. She'd come again, and with a greedy ear devour up my discourse, which I observing took once a pliant hour, and found good means to draw from her a prayer in her earnest heart, that I would be that all my pilgrimage delight, whereof my parcel she had something heard, but not intentively. I did consent, and often did beguile her of her tears, when I did speak of some distressful stroke that my youth suffered. My story being done, she gave me for my pains a world of sighs. She swore in faith 'twas strange, 'twas passing strange, 'twas pitiful, 'twas wondrous pitiful. She wished she had not heard it, yet she wished that heaven had made her such a man. She thanked me, and bade me, if I had a friend that loved her, I should but teach him how to tell my story, and that would woo her. Upon this hint I spake. She loved me for the dangers I had passed, and I loved her that she did pity them. This only is the witchcraft I have used. Here comes the lady. Let her witness it. I think this tale would win my daughter too. Good Brabantio, take up this mangled matter at the best. Men do their broken weapons rather use than their bare hands.
I pray you, hear her speak. If she confess that she was half the wooer, destruction on my head, if my bad blame, light on the man. Come hither, gentle mistress. Do you perceive, in all of this noble company, where most you owe is obedience? My noble father, I do perceive here a divided duty. To you I am bound for life and education. My life and education both do learn me how to respect you. You are the lord of duty. I am hitherto your daughter. But here's my husband, and so much duty as my mother showed to you, preferring you before her father. So much I challenge that I may profess, due to the more, my lord. God be with you, I have done. Please it your grace on to the state affairs. I had rather to adopt a child than get it. Come hithermore, I here do give thee with all my heart, which but thou hast already, with all my heart, I will keep from thee, for your sake, Jewel. I am not at soul, I have no other child, for thy escape would teach me tyranny, to hang clogs on them. I have done, my lord.
Let me speak like yourself, and lay a sentence, which, as a grace or spec, may help these lovers into your favor. When remedies are past, the griefs are ended, by seeing the worst which light on hopes demanded. To mourn a mischief that is past and gone is the next way to draw new mischief on. What cannot be preserved when fortune takes, patient her injury a mockery makes. The rob that smiles, stealing something from the thief, he robs himself that spends a bootless grief.
So let the Turk of Cyprus us beguile. We lose it not so long as we can smile. He bears the sentence well that nothing bears, but the free comfort which from thence he hears. But he hears both the sentence and the sorrow, that to pay grief must of poor patience borrow. These sentences to sugar or to gall, being strong on both sides, are equivocal. But words are words. I never yet did hear that the bruised heart was pierced through the ear. I humbly beseech you, proceed to the affairs of state.
The Turk, with the most mighty preparation, makes for Cyprus. Othello, the fortitude of the place, is best known to you. And though we have there a substitute of most allowed sufficiency, yet opinion, a sovereign mistress of effects, throws a more safer voice on you. You must therefore be content to slubber the gloss of your new fortunes with this more stubborn and boisterous expedition. I'm feeling so slow. The tyrant custom, most grave senators, hath made the flinty and steel couch of war, my thrice-driven bed of down. I do agonize a natural and prompt alacrity. I find in harness and do undertake these present wars against the Ottomans. Most humbly, therefore, bend into your state. I crave fit disposition for my wife, due reference of plays and expedition, with such accommodation in the sort as levels with her breeding. Why at her father's?
I'll not have it so.
Nor I.
Nor I. I would not there reside, to put my father in impatient thoughts, by being in his eye. Most gracious Duke, to my unfolding lend a gracious ear, and let me find a charter in your voice to assist my simpleness.
What would you do, Desdemona?
That I did love the more to live with him. My downright violence and scorn of fortunes may trumpet to the world, my heart subdued, even to the very quality of my lord. I saw Othello's visage in his mind, and to his honors and his valiant parts did I my soul and fortunes consecrate. So that, dear lords, if I be left behind, a moth of peace, and he go to the war, the rights for which I love him are bereft me, and I, a heavy interim, shall support by his dear absence. Let me go with him.
Let her have her voice. Vouch with me, heaven, I therefore beg it not, to please the palate of my appetite, nor to comply with heat the young effects in me defunct, and proper satisfaction, but to be free and bounteous to her mind. And heaven defend your good souls that you think I will your serious and great business scant when she is with me. No, when light-winged toys of feathered cupids seal with wanton dullness my speculative and office instruments, that my discourse corrupt and taint my business. Let housewives make a skillet of my home, and all indign and base adversites make head against my estimation. Be it as you shall privately determine, either for her stay or going, the fair cries haste, and speed must answer it.
You must away tonight.
It's your turn.
Nuh-uh. You have to be Othello. It's Othello.
You're on the wrong line. It's Desdemona's turn.
What? No, it's
You
not.
must await night tonight, my lord.
Okay, I don't have that line. Just go to Othello's with all my heart.
Tonight, my lord? That. You can do all that with all my heart. At 9 in the morning, here we'll meet again. Othello, leave some officer behind, and he shall our commission bring to you, with such things else of quality and respect as doth important to you. So please your grace, my ancient, a man he is of honesty and trust, to his conveyance I assign my wife, with what else needful your good grace shall think to be sent after me. Let it be so. Good night to everyone, and noble signor, if virtue no delighted beauty lack, your son-in-law is far more fair than black.
Adieu to her, Moor, if thou hast wait, wrong one. Adieu, brave Moor, use Desdemona well. Look to her, Moor, if thou hast eyes to see, she has deceived her father, and may thee.
My life upon her faith, honest Diego, my Desdemona must I leave to thee. I prithee let thy wife attend on her, and bring them after in best advantage. Come, Desdemona, I have but an hour of love, of worldly matters and direction to spend with thee. We must obey the time. Diego!
What sayest thou, noble heart?
What will I do, thinkst thou?
Why, go to bed and sleep.
I will incontinently drown myself.
If thou dost, I shall never love thee after. Why, thou silly gentleman.
It is silliness to live when to live is torment, and then have we a prescription to die when death is our physician.
O villainous, I have looked upon the world for 4 times 7 years, and since I could distinguish betwixt a benefit and an injury, I never found man that knew how to love himself. Ere I would say I would drown myself for the love of a guinea hen. I would change my humanity with a baboon.
What should I do? I confess it is my shame to be so fond, but it is not my virtue to amend it.
Virtue, a fig! 'Tis in ourselves that we are thus or thus. Our bodies are gardens, to the which our wills are gardeners. So that if we will plant nettles or sow lettuce, set hyssop and weed up thine. Supply it with one gender of herbs, or distract it with many, either to have it sterile with idleness, or manured with industry. Why, the power and corrigible authority of this lies in our wills. If the balance of our lives had not one scale of reason to pose another of sensuality, the blood and baseness of our natures would conduct us to most preposterous conclusions. But we have reason to cool our raging motions, our carnal stings, our unbidden lust. Whereof I take this, that you call love to be a sect or scion.
It cannot be.
It is merely a lust of the blood, and a permission of the will. Come, be a man, drown thyself, drown cats and blind puppies. I have professed me thy friend, and I confess me knit to thy deserving with cables of perdurable toughness. I could never better stead thee than now. Put money in thy purse, follow thou the wars, defeat thy favor with an uncircled beard. I say, put money in thy purse. It cannot be that Desdemona should long continue her love to the Moor. Put money in thy purse, nor he his or to her. It was a violent commencement, and thou shalt see an answerable sequestration. Put money in thy purse. These Moors are changeable in their wills. Fill thy purse with money. The food that to him now is as luscious as locusts shall be to him shortly as bitter as calinquita. She must change for youth. When she is sated with his body, she will find the heir of her choice. She must have change. She must, therefore, put money in thy purse. If thou wilt needs damn thyself, do it a more delicate way than drowning. Make all the money thou canst. If sanctimony and a frail vow betwixt an errant barbarian, and a super subtle Venetian, be not too hard for my wits and all the tribe of hell, thou shalt enjoy her. Therefore make money, a pox of drowning thyself, it is clean out of the way. Seek thy rather to be hanged in compassing thy joy than to be drowned and go without her.
Wilt thou be false to my hopes, if I depend on the issue?
Thou art sure of me. Go, make money. I have told thee often, and I retell thee again and again. I hate them more. My cause is hearted. Thine hath no less reason. Let us be conjunctive in our revenge against him. If thou canst uphold him, thou dost thyself a pleasure, me a sport. There are many events in the womb of time which will be delivered. Traverse, go, provide thy money. We will have more of this tomorrow. Adieu.
Where shall we meet in the morning?
At my lodging.
I'll be there with the betimes.
Go to, farewell. Do you hear, Rodrigo?
What say you?
No more of drowning. Do you hear?
I am changed.
Go to, farewell. Put money enough in your purse.
I'll sell all my land.
Thus do I ever make my fool my purse, for I mine own gay knowledge should profane. If I would time expend with such a snipe, before my sport and profit, I hate them more, and it is thought abroad that twixt my sheets he has done my office. I know not if it be true, but I, for mere suspicion in that kind, will do as if for surety. He holds me well, the better shall my purpose work on him. Cassio's a proper man, let me see now, to get his place, and to plume up my will, in double knavery. How, let's see. After some time, to abuse Othello's ear, that he is too familiar with his wife, he hath a person, and is smooth disposed to be suspected, framed to make women false. The more is of a free and open nature, that thinks men honest, but seem to be so, and will as tenderly be led by the nose as asses are. I have it. It is engendered. Hell and night must bring the monstrous birth to the world's light.